We're gonna be deleting this on this motor. I need mechanics. I'm gonna show you what's going on here. Condition, cause, correction, confirm. We got a condition here, and the condition is, can you hear it? I'm gonna take my microphone. Okay. The condition in the customer's complaint is, first time we've ever seen this vehicle, it's a 5.3 LS, 220,000 miles. First time we've ever seen the vehicle. He took it to another place, and look what they've done. I've got the engine running. Let me turn it off. The customer brought us this, and their condition, not their complaint, their condition is, I got a noisy, sounds like a squeaky belt. Well, the reason he brought it to me is, and you look in here, you can see this brand new water pump pulley on here. You can see it's got a new tensioner on here, a new belt, and he's got a stretch belt, a new one down there on his AC compressor. And he's replaced all that, and he still has the noise. So this is what I want to talk about. Now, it might have needed a tensioner and a water pump and a belt. I'm not here to knock another shop. That does no good at all. But when you talk about a condition and then the cause, the condition is what the service writer and the customer talk about. I got a belt. It sounds to me like a belt noise. That's not the customer diagnosing it. That's him doing his best to tell you, hey, this is my complaint. You know, I have this noise. It's the job of the mechanic to diagnose what the cause is. Now, sometimes the cause, this is what we are going to do here. We're going to pull that belt off. I know it's not the belt already. I've heard this a bunch of times on a 5.3, 6.0. We're an engine building shop, so I know what it is. Now, this is my question to you out there before I continue with this. Do you know what it is? Does your experience, is it enough that you can just pop off and say, that's what it is? That's a dangerous thing. I get in trouble for doing that. I test my theory. That's what a good mechanic does. He listens to the condition. I got a squeaky engine. Could be a belt. Then the cause, he tests that theory. Now I'm going to test that theory by pulling this belt off that's been replaced, that didn't fix it, but I'm going to listen to that again. And then if the noise is still there, I'll get out my stethoscope and my long probe, and I'll start probing around the engine. And we'll see if I can kind of pinpoint where that's coming from. And then there's probably going to be some teardown inspection, and we'll talk to the customer about that. So let's do that right now and see if the noise goes away when we pull the belt off. Tyson?
Yes.
Turn around here and say hello.
Hello.
You know, everybody out there, you follow me, I couldn't have built this business without people like Tyson. Tyson's been with me for 28 years, Tyson?
I think so. We always have to check the file to get the date because it's always been so long.
But I've been in business for 34 years, but I can't really remember that far back. I can't remember not having Tyson here with me. And that's another thing, why we're doing this and we're taking this belt off and checking. A lot of you guys out there complaining about this industry. How do you fix that? Look at yourself. Let's start this thing up and see if the noise has gone away. My guess is it hasn't. That's why the guy brought it to me. He spent money replacing all this stuff. Okay. You can see the belt's not on here, so we're not running the water pump. And we still have that noise. This is where we're at with this. The condition is squeaky noise. The cause, it obviously isn't the belts. It was acceptable that maybe at the start the mechanic thought that, but what should he have done before he replaced all that? What I just did, whip the belt off there real quick, start it up and see if the noise goes away. If the noise goes away, replace the belts, the tensioner, an idler if you got it. They're not unusual that they'll make that kind of sound. But we sometimes take things for granted, we don't do our job. And therein lies another thing that we could talk about this morning. I got a lot of comments when I was at SEMA about I made a statement over a fuel injection stack in the new releases. And I looked at everybody and I said, I don't understand why anybody wouldn't want to do this. Holy moly. I poked the bear, I kicked the hornet's nest. A lot of guys out there, a lot of people complained about, the pay's crappy, my employer doesn't take care of me, I have to work on greasy, rusty old crap. All that's true. I'm not calling any of it wrong, but what's the fix? What's the condition? What's the cause? What's the correction? And then confirm your correction. You can fix that problem in your life or that problem with the car if you'll follow that 4 C's. First off, quit looking at the problem as a complaint. You got to quit that. It's a condition. And then what's the cause? The cause of maybe why you're not making enough money is maybe you're just not good at it. Maybe you're working for the wrong guy. Maybe you haven't put in enough training. I mean, I've been doing this for, 50 years. And I started this business out in a storage shed in the middle of winter, and I had a propane heater. I kid you not. My daddy didn't give me any of this. And if you look around my shop, people, you've all noticed it's a very nice place, and I've earned every bit of it. And I've done it because I've followed these 4 C's, and I've continued to refine that. I make mistakes every day. And those mistakes are how I grow. It's the same thing with when I talk to you about building an engine. We see mistakes that are built in engines. That don't mean the engineers and the manufacturer had some nefarious thing going on and they just wanted to screw people. That goes back to the complaint thing. You got to quit thinking like that. It's a condition. How do we make it better? It's the same in your relationships, whether it's with your children, your neighbors, your spouse. You can make it better if you start looking at it as a condition. What's the cause? Test that theory. Do a correction. You confirm, did that correction get you the results you wanted? And go back. It's a circle. It's not linear. You keep refining that. You keep refining that. And you get better and better. So now, what we'll do is we'll go to this customer and we'll explain to them we've got an internal engine noise. That noise you just heard, when I was probing this, I went right to the front of the timing cover where the camshaft is. Now here's my guess. It's still a guess. It's an educated guess. But my guess is I got a lifter that's going bad on this cam, and I got a flat cam going on. It's a common problem. General Motors calls their cylinder deactivation active AFM, active fuel management. And Dodge has got their issues with that. Chevy's got their issues with that. About every manufacturer's doing something with that to meet their emission control standards that the pressure they're putting on them for that. But this engine's got a known problem with that. So here's what we do. This is, people out there complaining about this industry. Well, the only people going to fix it is who? The mechanics. Mechanics and shop owners. I cannot fix the whole world, but I can fix my business. So this is what we choose to do with our customers. And I would say it's working pretty well. I've been in business, this is my 34th year. We're successful, we pay well, we have nice equipment, and we've got a good following here in Utah. So what we'll do is we'll talk to the customer, and we're going to say to this customer, 220,000 miles. I've got an engine that's had a possibly lifter failure. How do we confirm that? Remember, condition, cause, correction, confirm. I'm making some assumptions here, and I can't do that until I disassemble that engine. Well, if on this engine, I can't get the lifters out of this motor without removing the cylinder heads. With 220,000 miles on it, I look at the truck. We've driven it. It rides nice. It's obviously this customer's taking really good care of this truck. And so my suggestion to him is, since I've got to pull the cylinder heads off of it, we might get away with a lifter or two. Yeah, right. That's not the type of shop I am. I'll tell a customer that straight up. I don't want to if I've got a bad lifter, I do not want to put it, and the guys will look and they'll say, oh, the lobe looks good. Oh my gosh, that doesn't mean the lobe is good. I'm going to definitely replace the cam and lifters, minimum, give it an oil change. But what about all that material if I've had a lifter fail? Where's that gone down? It's gone down into the pan. Of course, it's gone into the pickup screen, then it's gone up to the front pump. It's damaged the pump, and then it goes into the oil filter. Hopefully none of that material has got up into the bearings or anything like that. But again, I got a motor with 220,000 miles. I'm gonna do all that work, put a camshaft in it and lifters, and not do a motor? I could, and that would fix the gentleman's problem. But a good shop, this is where the mechanic, the disconnect I think is. It's about communication. Go to your customer and communicate to them exactly what I'm communicating to you here. We possibly have a lifter failure in this motor. It's obviously not the belts. This motor's known for this. Send him to the internet. He'll find a million, hits on that. And our recommendation is, sir, would be to pull the motor, because I've got to remove the heads. I don't want to do that over the fender, because if I have any issues with that motor and I pull those heads off over the fender, then the engine's got to come out. So it's all that labor, and then I got extra labor. So let's just go ahead and pull the engine, do a thorough inspection, and then if you feel comfortable, Mr. Customer. Now remember, you feel comfortable, Mr. Customer. If you feel comfortable, I can't find anything else wrong, I'll bring you into the operating room and reveal the process to you. I'll look at a rod bearing while I've got the oil pan off of it, and we'll look at the cam and the lifters and the rest of it. We can vacuum check the cylinders to make sure I've got no issues there. The heads are coming off of it, so I can look at the cylinder walls. But if we've got a problem, that's the time let's put a motor in it. Now, a lot of people out there, because I've talked about this before in my videos, they think maybe I'm overselling the customer. I'm not selling the customer anything. That's where the disconnect is here. I'm not selling the customer anything. I'm like a surgeon. I'm telling the customer what they have that's wrong with their patient, and then I'm helping them, guide them to make a good decision based on what their needs are. If their needs are, I got to have a budget here that's bottom end, but I need to have my truck fixed, we put a cam and lifters in it, change the oil, and keep our fingers crossed. The motor doesn't have any other problems, because all I can warranty is what? The cam and the lifters. I can't warranty the whole motor. I haven't done the whole motor. These are the things you need to explain to your customer. When you fail to do this, or your service writer, or the owner of your shop, or wherever you're working, where they fail to bring the customer into this conversation, is where things get lost and they get haywire and they get messed up, and then people have issues and all that. Everybody has budgets. I understand people have, budgetary constraints. We all do. But this, man, understand this. If I'm going on and on and on, I don't mean to. I can guarantee you this, and I've used this with customers. As much as you would like $200 to fix this car, and it's going to be a lot more than 200, but this is an example, and the customer's like, all I have is 100. They will never remember. They will never remember this. They won't go, well, he didn't fix a dang thing for me, and he took $100. They won't remember that. They'll remember that he took my money and he didn't fix anything. It's your responsibility to make clear to the customer what it is to fix their car properly. That's on you. You're the doctor. You fail to do that, just like if a doctor doesn't explain to you the different alternatives, the downside, the upside to all the different treatments he's going to do, find another doctor. So where does all this vomiting of my thoughts really end up? Because of this way I've been running my business, I need mechanics. I need good mechanics. They want to make great money and work in a world-class facility. And I've got customers, we're backed up for months. I've got customers that can't even get in here. So I'm thinking that this is probably the right way to do it. We need to get out of our old thinking, understand that our industry is in this situation because of the person that you're looking at in the mirror, and change it, because nobody else is going to do that for you. And if you're tired of where you're working and you are a good mechanic, send me your resume. Everybody knows what this is, and they hate it. We're going to be deleting this on this motor. This is the cylinder delete solenoid assembly to shut down the lifters on a LT. What are they doing on this one? I wanted to show you what we found. We found our camshaft. The ticking noise is this cam lobe, cylinder number 2. It's chewing up the cam lobe. Our lifter was shot. We also found the lifter over on this side. Starting to get some ring wash here. It's burning oil. So we're gonna recommend a complete motor on this. Look here. I'll just show this to you. See this kind of buildup in here in your oil? You know, that's sludge. Look at this sludge buildup in here. I'm gonna just grab that with my finger. Look at that. That's tar. That's not supposed to be in an engine. And that is from not changing your oil often enough. That's sludge at the microscopic level. I want to show you, why that's a problem. So come here, I'm going to show you at one of the microscopic levels why that's wrong. I've taken this piston out of our engine, and here is the oiler ring here. This is the scraper ring, and this is the compression ring. Now I want you to look down here on this oiler ring, and I want you to look here in this screen. I'll focus this down in there. But this here is that oiler ring right there. Now all this sludge and crud, it's like right there. I'm going to just kind of see if I can just kind of knock that out of there. It's like tar. But what you're looking at there is, I've got a set of rings for this engine. What you're looking at there is this. You're looking in between that. So let me take that ring out of here, and I'll show you why that's a problem. I've cleaned one of the old pistons off as best I could, this one here, but I'm going to take this old cruddy one out of here, and I'm going to show you what's going on here and why this is ruining engines. And this is all from the oil being overused. And when I say overused, people are going to say, well, it's because it's washing by the rings, and it's fuel, unburned fuel, direct injection, whatever the reason is. I don't want to get into the reason. I agree with all that. I don't know that for sure, but those are possibilities. But what I do know is the end result, whatever's causing it, the end result is giving you this. And look in this ring now at the microscopic level. So instead of having this wide open passageway for oil to get through, and I'll talk about that in a minute, we have this. Let's look at it under the microscope. It'll be a little easier for me now that I got that out of there. If I could quit shaking. Basically, that's what that looks like. There is no openings. Those openings are filled with hard tar. The oil is baked in there. There's some of it. There's another piece of it. You just clean, Now, people, let's talk about this. This is something people say, put some Marvel Mystery Oil in it. I love Marvel Mystery Oil. I've been using that stuff. I don't know, Marvel started it, I guess. That's his name. And it's a mystery what's in there, but it's a good detergent. My contention, or what I'm trying to say is that the problem has already happened. If you've got that much sludge buildup on your rings, you've lost the oil control up against your cylinder wall. You've scored the wall. You've lost your crosshatch pattern. Where that comes from, the oil is trying to get through these holes in the piston, and it gets up against. Let me get this newer ring here. It comes out of that. You can see that. See, and then the oil will come up through that clean area of the ring, and it will lubricate the wall. And when that comes to a certain point, sure, you can clean all that out of there with different chemicals, Marvel Mystery Oil. A lot of you have said that, but the damage is already done. It's kind of like a guy who gets a stent in his heart, I'm imagining. It opens up the artery, but he already had the heart attack and he damaged the muscle. And the muscle is the cylinder wall. So yes, it will clean out the sludge and you change your oil and get all that out of there, but chances are you've already damaged the motor. Change your oil, half of what the manufacturer recommends. That's some of the best advice I can give out there.